Good morning and welcome to a very dull, wet, very warm White Springs. I can't believe what's going on with the weather, to be honest. Yesterday morning it was -3, and then I've woke up this morning. It gradually got warmer and warmer as the day went on. Yesterday I was filming out at Salisbury on the Hampshire Avon yesterday, stick float fishing, and it got warmer and warmer as the day went on. I woke up this morning and it's like 13-14 degrees, so it's gone from like -3 to like 14 degrees in like a 24-hour period, which is obviously going the right way. It's better that it's warming up, but I just feel this time of year, whether it be really cold or really warm, you just want it to be settled, and it hasn't. It's just everywhere, the weather at the moment, but hopefully I can still catch a few fish. Basically, I've come here today because I've got a Fish South Silvers qualifier here on Saturday. So last year I've done exactly the same as what I'm doing now. I come on the Thursday, had a practice, caught a few fish, and then I was really lucky on the day of the Silverfish qualifier. I drew peg 4, and there was a load of skimmers in my peg that day. I caught 24 pound, but I had a bit of a nightmare with my hooks that day. I'd lost probably 5 or 6 big bream, but I was lucky enough that I still caught enough to win the qualifier, so I was really, really lucky that day. So I thought, well, it worked so well last year coming on the Thursday, having a little practice, so why not to come and do it again? I had a free day today. I've been filming the last 3 days, so I thought I'll come and have a bit more of a chilled out day and see if I can catch a few bream. I'm going to see if how I fed it last year is as good again. Basically last year, out and out, the best way to feed it was simply just to loose feed maggots. Simple, that's it. Anywhere I put pellets, groundbait, worms, just never got any skimmers in my peg. Basically, in the end, like with 2 hours to go of the match last year, I ended up just having 2 lines, 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and I was just loose feeding maggots, going boom, 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 and I caught last couple of hours when I actually got it all settled and I changed my hooks, I caught a load of fish. So I'm hoping that the same happens today. I'm sat on peg 7, which I think will be in on the day. If 4 was in, 6, oh no, it might be 8 in. But that's fine. I don't think it makes too much difference whether I'm fishing a peg that's in on the day or not. There's a load of carp topping, probably because of the rise in temperature. So I'm hoping I don't look too many of them, but they could be a bit of a nightmare today. But that's nice to know though, because on Saturday, if they are a bit of a nightmare, there should be some ways of fishing where I can avoid them. So yeah, I'm virtually set up. Yeah, I've done all my bait. I've got some red maggots, some dead red maggots, some micro, some expanders, a little bit of crushed expander, and I've got some F1 dark. How I'm going to start my day, I'm going to have a line with ground bait. I'm going to put 100 mil of loose ground bait in on one line. I'm going to loose feed maggots off to my right. I'm going to have a little go in the middle of the 2 with pellets just to see what response I get. And yeah, basically rigs, hooks, elastics, all that sort of stuff I'm pretty much sure about because it all worked so well last year. All I need to know from today is what bait the fish are eating, and which is the most important thing about fishing anytime you go. So yeah, I'll film again as I start my day, and then I'll give you like half-hour updates. I'm only going to fish till about 3. What's the time now? It's about 11:15, so I'll fish till about 2:15, so I've got to get back and pick my little one up from nursery. So I'll get that, give me plenty of time to wrap up and get back to Bristol. So yeah, hopefully if I can catch a few fish, learn about what bait they're eating, and then draw a decent peg on Saturday and hopefully try and win again. That's the ideal story, but it doesn't often quite go to plan. So yeah, see what happens. Right then, so I've gone for a really complicated rig choice. I've gone for one rig. Just gone for a 0.3 Matrix F1 Slim. Where I'm going to fish is about 1 metre to 1.5 metres off the island. Virtually off that island, it just slopes very, very gradually away. So you can pick your depth. It's 3 foot touching the island, and then 1 metre and a bit off, it goes to 43 inches. So I think that's from memory, that's about where I fished last time, about 1 metre off the island. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed maggots up to my left, in line with that tree. I'm just going to pot a few maggots in to start with, and then loose feed maggots. I'm going to pot a few pellets right smack in front of me in that tree, and then I'm going to pot some ground bait up to my right. And then that's 3 different ways of feeding it in the same depth. So if I'm catching on one of the 3, then I get a really good indication of what the fish want to eat. If you start fishing in different depths, and feeding different baits in different depths. You don't know whether it's the bait, the depth, the area of peg you're fishing. So I'm just going to go through one depth, one line, feed 3 different baits and see what I can catch. I'm pretty much sure that's about the right line to fish. That's where I caught all my fish. Honestly, last year, if I'd have had my hooks in that right, I think I would have had about 30 to 35 pound last year, and that's normally enough to win most silverfish matches on here. So that metre off the island seems to be a really good line. The only problem I've got, I'm ready to go, my ground bait's mixed, my maggots are obviously sorted. I soaked my pellets when I got here and they're not soaked yet, I can't hook them. So I don't know what I'm going to quite do. I'm going to feed my bait now though. I'm just going to pot 100 to 125 mil of ground bait this side, pot a few maggots this side, and I'm going to pot a tiny little ball with crushed expander, a few micros from an expander on the hook if I can hook them. I might have to fish with maggots on the hook to start with until they're soft. Oh no, they're just starting to go now, so hopefully I'll be able to hook them. Right, so 125 mil of ground bait. I'm just going to sprinkle a few dead maggots in that, mix that round. It's like half of a big pot. I'm going to pot that in up to my right. As well, metre off the island stays a lovely length. It's about 12.5 metres there. So I'm just going to pop that loose ground bait in. I've gone for Sonyu Baits F1 dark because the water's quite clear, so a dark ground bait could be good, even though I don't really believe in that theory, but it could be good. And then I'm just going to pot a few maggots up to my left, literally that many. It's probably 100 to 120 maggots. I'm going to sprinkle them in and I'm going to loose feed a few with a catapult. So I've created a little base there, and then I'm just going to loose feed a few just to get my eye in. The wind is a bit gusty. I know it looks a bit wrong loose feeding over an area like that on a lake this size, but last year, honestly, it's a bit better. See, that was nice, that one. Just need to improve my catapulting skills and we'll be away. So, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start smack in front of me with a little kinder pot on, a pellet on the hook, and just put a tiny little ball of crush in. If I had some kinder pots. A tiny little ball of crush, a few micros, put an expander on the hook and just start fishing on that line. But I'll start filming again once I start fishing. Right, so I've potted that little ball of crush in and a few micros, and I've gone in and had a bite within a minute. This is what I was worried about a little bit. There's so many carp topping in that sort of area. Literally, like straight in, little tiny ball, pellets on the hook, and it's just gone straight under, and it's definitely a carp. So, I will have one more go with pellets, but if I go in and hook another carp, then straight away it's not going to be the bait to fish, because the thing is, when it's this warm, there are going to be quite a few carp feeding, and pellets is going to be a bait where you're going to hook them. So I'll have one more chuck. Oh no, I'm going to do my rig. I'll have one more chuck with this, but already after 5 minutes of fishing, I think I can sort of bin pellets off. I think I caught one little skimmer on them last year at the start. That's what made me want to try and do it again, but might be a bit warm. Lovely fish, like. Could be it could be just a day for loose feeding maggots on Saturday, because the problem is, if there's lots of carp feeding, you put any fish meal in your peg, then you're just going to get these in your peg. But at least we've had a bite. heavy fish, that. That's the sort of fish that looks like £5 and weighs like 7. Really heavy. So yeah, first fish, but not a counter. Right, so we've been fishing about 15 minutes. I had that carp, obviously. I've just dropped in though, it's really weird, and I've had one really slow bite, which I think's a liner, and then I've had another bite that's just like under real quick, and I've missed them both. Just a bit strange. I don't know if that's line bites from carp, but in the actual match last year, I think Rob, God, what's his name? One of the Welsh lads was here, and he caught a load of fish. I thought he absolutely battered me, but they were small. They were like real small skimmers. Oh look, there's another indication. They're really small skimmers. I ended up beating them in the end. That's why I thought pellets would be good here. If you're catching those like hand-sized skimmers, normally pellets are brilliant. So even though I caught that carp early, those little indications, actually not a bad sign. That might be actually some skimmers in my peg. Because normally when you get those carp in your peg, there's no missing bites or anything, it's just like walleye bomb. Just one thing I forgot to mention earlier, if the picture quality looks a bit misty, it's because it is. It's really, really misty today. I got like this misty rain coming in, and the lens on the camera keeps getting wet, so the quality of the picture's not going to be its usual self today, but that doesn't matter too much, as long as you get all the info from today is the main thing. But yeah, I thought I might just get one then, because I had like 2 or 3 indications, but that little ball of groundbait might have brought some skimmers in the peg, but if they don't actually want to eat pellets, I might not get a proper bite from a fish on the hook. Which means when I go on my groundbait line where I fed that 125 mil, might be alright. So that's probably what I'll do next. I have been loose feeding some maggots on that left line. So I'm going to keep loose feeding that, but probably my next move is that groundbait line, because I want to see if anything moves onto that early. Nice. That looks nice to me, to be honest, the way that the maggots are going in, the distance from the bank. Got a little bit of ripple here, and it's just catching the water like in front of me, so where I'm loose feeding those maggots, it's dead flat calm, which is a nice thing for when you're fishing with live maggots on the drop. Oh, there's a bite. Look at that, that's really weird. Would love to know what that is. It's just like, it bites, it just sits there and it goes really quickly. That's got to be little skimmers and stuff, it has to be. Well, there we go. That's the first silverfish I hooked on pellets. I thought there were some skimmers in the tag because I've had 2 or 3 little indications. And yeah, just a small skimmer. That's the sort of fish I thought I would catch on pellets. But that's a really good start. Because if I wouldn't have had that carp in the tag, I might have caught them straight away. Nice fish. I think it's time to write pellets off. So basically I caught that little skimmer and then dropped straight back in. It went straight under with another great big carp. So it's a shame because I feel like if these carp weren't in my peg, pellets could be alright. Like the stamp of fish that are in here screams to me for pellets, but no, it's not right. If I'm looking at carp every other skimmer I hook, I'm looking at carp, that's not right, you know. Problem is when you hook these carp, they just feel like they swim through your other lines and disrupt your other lines as well. So yeah, I'm going to have one last very quick look on pellets, but I think I'll write them off for now anyway. Right, so that was my first drop on my groundbait line, and I dropped in and straight away I could see some little bubbles and little pinpricks. I thought to myself, well, there's definitely some fish there. I thought it might have been carp, but it took about 4 or 5 minutes, but now I've hooked this one, which is a brilliant sign. Last year I never had a bite on groundbait, so this is a really good sign so far. I went in with double dead red maggot, and it actually lifted up, and that's the fish that I caught last year, that sort of stamp. So that is a great sign. So to start off with, pellets have been a bit rubbish. God, the fish are freezing, absolutely freezing. The water temperature must be really down. Started off on those pellets, but that definitely didn't seem right. 2 carp, 1 little skimmer. Dropped in on my groundbait line, 125 mil groundbait, like 15 dead maggots in it, double dead red maggot on the hook, and straight away I've caught that one. So that's a really good sign. I'm sure if I'm hooking fish on this line, that groundbait, that loose feeding maggot line has got to be good, surely. So, but fisheries do change from year to year, so I'm going to have another go on this and keep loose feeding my my maggot line, and then just swap between those 2 lines before the end. The only other thing that's going through my head, but I'm not sure, is worms. I just got it in my head because of Makins last Saturday. Basically I went to Makins, and unless you potted in worms with a tiny little bit of groundbait in them and made like those little worm bombs things, you never really got a bite. It was unbelievable. Like 2 hours to go, just sat there, can't get a bite on groundbait, maggots, casters, stuff like that. Chopped up some worms, put a little worm bomb in, and I got a bite chuck at the end of the match. Only roach, not skimmers. Oh, they didn't go in very nice at all. That wind's a bit gusty. Let's see. Oh. There we go, that's better. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep fishing this line just for a bit. It did take me a little while to get the bite. That's the only thing I'm thinking. And then just swap between those 2 lines. Maybe before the end I might chop up a few worms and just put a little worm bomb in. Oh, there's a bite. What's that? Yes, another big skimmer. Right, so I'm a bit surprised about that, because oh, it's come off. Last year I never hooked a fish on groundbait, and That groundbait line seems good. Right, that's come off, but it's got a bit of weed on the hook. I don't know if that was a bit foul lucky, that one. But a brilliant sign though. See if I can get one more. That's going to be the issue on Saturday. If I draw a peg that's a little bit wider like this, and I'm in that wind, it's ever so difficult to loose feed maggots accurately enough. Today I'm just getting away with it. Look like another indication straight away. See, if that wind gets like that, then it's just impossible to loose feed. Impossible to do most things, to be honest, when the wind gets like that. God, this weather is incredible at the moment. It's just all over the place. Yesterday on that River Avon, it was pure sunshine and not a breath of wind all day. And then you wake up today and it's like this. Mental. Oh, there's another little bubble there, right by my float, that one. There's definitely some skimmers in the peg. Another little bubble there. I don't know if 125mm might have been a little bit too much groundbait. Maybe just a tiny little nugget with just an odd dead maggot in it might have been better. Oh, there's an indication. Probably what I will do as well is speak to Mikey on the way home, because Mikey does really well here, and see what he says, because I think, I'm not 100% sure, when he fishes here he pots tiny little, like a little pinch of groundbait, a little bit of loose, and then just fishes over the top of it. So maybe 125mm might have been a bit too much, because there's definitely fish in my peg, but I've hooked those 2 fish, but I feel like I should be getting quicker bites than that. So many carp topping. Oh, that's another indication. Lovely venue though. Just a bit tricky at the moment. I don't feel like this is right. Pellets definitely weren't right. I've been fishing nearly an hour and I've only had those 2 skimmers, so Just hoping this loose feed line's as good as what it was last year. Right, what I'm going to do, thinking about it, there's definitely some fish on that line, but I just probably feel like there's a little bit too much ground bait there. So I'm not going to top it up, I'm just going to leave it. Have a go on that maggot line, because I want to have a go on that maggot line fairly early. And then see what happens. Maybe drop back in on it after like another 20 minutes and see if I get a better response. But there is definitely some fish on that ground bait. There's an odd bubble, odd pinprick. I've hooked 2. I've had 2 or 3 more indications, but that ain't right. That volume of bait isn't right, because if it was dead right, I'd be getting quicker bites than what I am. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I'd be getting quicker bites if it was dead right. So yeah, I'm gonna. The rain's getting really bad, so I might have to stop filming for a couple of minutes. Whack the camera away and then wait for it to finish, wait for it to drop, and then grab it back out again. But it's a bit minging this weather, to be honest. So there you go, that is exactly what I wanted to see. I've just dropped in on that loose feed maggot line, and it's literally just gone straight under. It's exactly the same as last year. I don't know if that's an eyed or a skimmer. Probably an eyed, that, but it's a really good start. This is honestly absolutely identical to last year. You go in on ground bait, you have an odd bite, but it's just not right. You drop in just on neat maggots where I've loose feed maggots. Look at that for a fish. Beautiful. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going with these live maggots for a minute. Single live maggot on the hook, just literally loose feeding them. See if I can get a few more bites. I'm not going to lie though, I can't see me lasting 3 hours. It's absolutely minging, this weather. That wind's like real gusty, and it's that sort of rain that it doesn't look like you're going to get very wet, and then you're absolutely, look at that, straight away. It'd be nice if I could feed my maggots better. There we go. Oh, nice roach. Beautiful. Oh, that was foul, look, whatever that was. But it definitely felt like a decent fish. Can you see the difference though between the two lines? Like that ground bait line, I'm just sat there for ages before I get any indications. This line is like, go in, straight under. You can see me just coming here and just going boom, boom, left and right on loose feeding maggots, and just catch everything, catch skimmers. I could put some ground bait in somewhere, but I just can't see it. Oh, this is really frustrating because if I could get my maggots bang on every time, I'm sure I'd get... It's just so gusty, this wind. Might have to put a little kinder pot on and just tap them in as well as loose feeding them if I can't get them as accurate as I want. Another decent fish. Solid, isn't it? Love it. Is that a skimmer? Yeah, look at that. Yes. That is exactly what we want. That's why I've come and practiced, because God, fish are freezing. Because this is why I want to go into the match just real confident in the way I'm going to fish. Use my experience of last year and hopefully draw on a few of those better skimmers. Hopefully, anyway. See, like, that's the difference, right? When that wind drops like that, those maggots went in absolutely perfect. Look at that. Look, that's mental. Look, massive bream. Yes. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Look, this is what happened last year. It's mental. You would think like pellets and groundbait and that. You go in on just loose feed live maggots and look at the size of that. That's mental. Right, I'm off at the pub, I reckon. It's one. Look at them. Why won't those fish eat pellets and groundbait? Why won't they do it? Right, I'm just going to have to stop filming for 2 secs because I'm going to have to clean the lens of the camera because the rain's getting a little bit too much for it. Right, so I've had to clean of the camera lens because it's absolutely peeing down now. Right, I'm just going to let the camera roll a minute because I feel like I'm going to get loads of bites fishing like this. So lay my rig in upwind, let it all settle. I'm going to try and get some maggots there. Oh yes, they went in nice. Oh, that was just a little fish that time. I don't know if a little light float would be good for this, or this slightly 0.3s are going to be slightly heavier, going to be better. Don't think there's many small fish in there, rubbish fish. No, look at that. Oh, how's that not on? I'm trying not to get too giddy with the feeding because when you start getting this many bites, it's easy just to be like, get giddy with it. I'm just going to really make sure I feed, and once I got it in, go back out, feed. Don't get too giddy with that catapult. Hooked a tiny little fish and then missed 2 bites. Might be some smaller fish there. Oh, look at that again. It's really weird. Just check that maggot. Just gonna take a little trimmer off as well, just get a bit more float showing. Or maybe put a little bit of grease on, just to pop the float up. This is the first time I filmed with the new pole, XTR 700, new side trays. This pole's incredible, best thing ever. Right, so let's see if we can get some maggots in the right spot. Look at that on the drop, beautiful. Another skimmer as well. I'm sold on this fishing like this. I didn't have time to feed that time. Just hooked a skimmer. So I'm gonna make sure get in there and get plenty of bait in there. So frustrating. I just feel like if I could loose feed dead right, this line would be solid. Look, see how that wind's just dropped now? It was really gusty then. See if I can get it. Look, that's the difference. As soon as that wind drops, look at that. Nice little skimmer. No good. That's all right. Oh. I do feel like there's an odd small fish in my peg, so I am going to be a little bit more aggressive with that catapult. What I could try in a minute, I might just try fishing with a toss pot. Oh yes, maybe I won't. Yeah, you know that toss pot, it can toss off. Have a big skimmer. What I'm talking about. Oh, it might be an hide. Or was it a skimmer? It might be a skimmer. No, an eyed, big eyed. Look at that. Beautiful. So, right, let's have a little think about this then. That is obvious that that's the best line by an absolute country mile. Was last year, was today. So I've, in my head now, I've got 3 maggot lines. I've got one left, one right. And then I'll probably throw some maggots short as well, because you never know, late on they might move short. It's just what I start on. What I could start on is just like a little punch of groundbait. I could start on pellets, but I just don't want to risk hooking those carp. Such a shame. If it was dead flat calm and I could feed those maggots really tight with a catapult, I'm sure I'd be getting even more bites than this. Mine ain't bad. Right, catch one more for you, and then that is pretty conclusive, isn't it? That groundbait line's, I did up two fish on it, but there is still an odd bubble there, so I will have another go. But you've seen the difference. It's just incredible, isn't it? Loose feeding maggots. God, loads of bites there. What's that then? Just missed like 3 bites in a row. That's really weird. That might be roach. Maybe not. Oh, nice big eyes. Right, so that's really conclusive. I'm going to have one more go on that groundbait line, but to be honest, I think my mind's made up already. Right, so before I end the day, I thought I would drop back in on my groundbait line, because I've got to be honest, that maggot line's been absolutely brilliant. It's just solid over there. Right, if I could get my maggots like that every single time, I think it'd be even better. But I've dropped in on this groundbait line, and to be fair, I've had an odd bite. It's okay, but it's not anything like that maggot line. So what I'm thinking is, on the day, probably what I'll do, I'll have 2 loose feeding maggot lines left and right, and in the middle, where I started on pellets today, I might start with just a little nugget of groundbait and a little bit of loose groundbait, and with a single maggot on the hook, and just start fishing like that. See if I can nick a couple of skimmers early. Let's see. It's actually alright, that groundbait line there, but it's not anything like as good as those maggots. The fish would have to be a lot bigger on that groundbait for it to be better than maggots. So before I go, what I'm going to do, because that is pretty obvious that that's the best. That groundbait line's okay. It's not brilliant. But before I go, what I'm going to do is almost start again right in front of me, as if it was the start of the match. A tiny little ball of groundbait, and just go straight in on it and see like how long it takes for me to get a few bites. But I think loose feeding maggots are going to be the boy. Right, so I'm going to make this like the last 5 or 10 minutes. So basically, I'll fill you in what's happened. Obviously, that loose feeding maggot line was brilliant. You saw that. I went back on my groundbait, caught a few. I tried just a little tiny nugget of groundbait straight in front of me, because I thought that might be a nice way to start my match, but I caught a couple of small fish, but it wasn't very good. The only last thing I want to try before I head home is just a little ball of worms. So I mentioned it earlier, but at making Saturday, I literally caught nothing all day. And then I potted in a little ball of worms, and I caught some dumpy roach. I think I had 1 hybrid. I basically had a bite of chuck to the end of the match on worms. So I would be a fool to travel all the way over here, pleasure fishing, practicing for Saturday, and not before I leave just try a little ball of worms. So about 12 minutes ago, I just potted in like a golf ball size worms. Like, I put a section on, found the same depth, gone out of my peg a little bit, and I've just potted that little ball of worms in. I got a feeling it's going to be no good, and I probably won't get a bite on it, because if maggots are that good, then I would be amazed if they're eating worms as well. Tends to the places that you catch really well on worms, you don't really catch on maggots as well, like Makins, like Ivy House, places like that. So hopefully I'll sit here now for the next 5 to 10 minutes, not get a bite, and then worms are totally out of my radar then. And then I can just come here on Saturday. I can fish 1 line with loose fed maggots, another line with loose fed maggots, just be really active, loose feed, swapping and changing. And then I got 1 line in the middle of those 2 lines, probably where I'll start my match, and maybe I'll just put a little nugget of groundbait in, just as somewhere I can go to start. Maybe I'll get a bite before going on my loose fed maggot line. That sounds good to me, but I have got to give these worms 5 or 10 minutes, because if I go in on there now and hook some bream or hook some hide and stuff like that, then it might be a possibility, but it ain't gone under. Oh, there's a little indication, but it ain't gone under already. So you saw yourself earlier how quick the maggots were. Like, I literally dropped my rig in, didn't I? First chuck, boom, got one on maggots straight away. So it hasn't moved. Well, I had that one little indication that looked like a liner from like a carp or something. Oh, there's an indication now. Oh, is that a bite? Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. That might have just put a spanner in the works. I don't know if it's just because we're pleasure fishing. I've caught on everything today, but I've got to give that another 10 minutes now, because if I go in and catch them, might be an option to start on worms. And as fishing always, what happens every time we're fishing, come to the point when I'm virtually about to pack up and all the rain stopped. What's that? An hide. Right, so it's an hide. It's a nice fish though, decent fish. I've got to give it a couple more minutes just to see how good it is. Might be an option, maybe, just to put a little ball of worms in straight in front of me and then start on my loose feeding maggot lines. Sorry, no. Put a little ball of worms in, start on that whilst I'm priming up my loose feeding maggot lines. So we'll see now how good this is. But it's been a hell of a proper good day. Like, started off, those pellets were a waste of time. Went in on those maggots, went in on that groundbait line, and I did catch one. Oh, that's a bite on the drop there. Oh no, here we go. Oh, worms are going to be good, aren't they? Don't you love fishing? So, maybe worms on one line, 2 loose feeding maggot lines. Just going to keep fishing this line for 10 to 15 minutes and see what happens now. And then what I'll do, I'll probably fish for about another 10 to 15 minutes, wrap up really quickly and give you a final overview of exactly what I think I'm going to do on Saturday when I'm in the van driving home. Obviously hands free, so don't worry. Yeah, but it's been mint. Loved it today. It's been really good. So just got home. Really enjoyable day, to be honest. The weather wasn't great at all. Like it's that sort of rain today that you think, oh, that's not that bad. Then you've sat in it for about 40 minutes and then everything is absolutely soaked wet through. But I feel like it was worth it. It was a little bit of a long journey over there, but I feel really confident now after doing that today, which is the main thing in fishing. You have to be confident in whatever you're doing. So yeah, I'll just give you a little roundup of the day. What I thought was going to be really good in how to fish was how I caught last year on that qualifier. Was absolutely brilliant. Basically no ground bait, just loose feeder maggots, simple as that. Just fishing with a little rig, flicking it out, and I've had a barter chuck on fishing like that. Obviously you've seen late on I put some worms in and that was also good. The one thing that wasn't good today, which wasn't good last year, ground bait. For me it's just not right. I don't know, you just don't seem to get enough bites when you put it in, and the fish don't stay in your peg long at all. Like when I was loose feeding, like they stay in your peg and you just catch. When you go in on ground bait, you go boom, get one, boom, get one, and then you don't get another bite. So for me, ground bait ain't right. So I think personally, whoever wins this match on Saturday is going to go in loose feed and catch skimmers. Obviously I've sat on one of the best pegs on the lake and I'm pleasure fishing, so I have had bites on everything, which what you expect. But I didn't see the point of going sitting on a bad peg today, because you're going to need to draw a good peg to win anyway, so you might as well go and practice on a good peg. So what I think I'm going to do on Saturday, I'm just going to have my loose feed line. I'm going to have a little line with some worms, some little mushed up worms, because if that works, then it's deadly. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to work, but I think it could be good. And I could pot some ground bait short, or I could loose feed some maggots. A little bit undecided, but I'm not going to mess about. I think you're going to need £30 to win the match. Last year I had like 20 odd, but I hooked enough to catch £30. But a really, really good day. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I've learned a little bit, even though what I'd done last year was pretty much dead right. But fingers crossed, if I can draw a decent peg, just go and do that, and hopefully have a nice day and catch a few fish. But yeah, another practice session done and dusted. Quite enjoyable. Weather wasn't great, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Fingers crossed, get me on a good peg on Saturday, and hopefully I'll have a chance.